You've been doing it backwards your entire life. You think attraction is something you create by doing more, being funnier, more interesting, more available, more attentive. You think if you prove your value hard enough, she'll finally see it. You're wrong, and the harder you try, the more you repel her, because attraction doesn't work that way. It's not addition, it's subtraction. The less you need her validation, the more she wants to give it. Most guys spend years chasing, convincing, and performing, wondering why it never works. Why the girl loses interest after 3 weeks. Why she's hot and cold. Why she ghosts after you thought things were going great. Here's the truth you don't want to hear. She didn't lose interest because you weren't good enough. She lost interest because you needed her interest too much. And that need is the most unattractive thing you can project. I'm about to explain why neediness kills attraction, what validation independence actually is, and how to become the kind of man women chase without you doing anything. Let's start with the psychology. Attraction isn't logical. It doesn't follow the rules of fairness or effort. You can do everything right, be kind, thoughtful, present, and still lose. Because attraction operates on a different axis, it's triggered by value perception, and value perception is determined by scarcity, not abundance. When you chase her, text her constantly, rearrange your schedule to accommodate hers, you're signaling abundance. You're showing her that your time, attention, and validation are freely available. And humans don't value what's freely available. They value what's scarce, what's hard to get, what other people want but can't have. Here's the brutal truth. The moment she senses you need her more than she needs you, attraction dies. Not because she's cruel, not because she's shallow, because her brain is doing a calculation. If he needs my validation this badly, what does that say about his options? If he's this available, this eager, this accommodating, why isn't anyone else competing for his time? And the answer her brain arrives at is simple. He's not valuable. Because valuable things are competed for. Scarce things are desired, and you're acting abundant. That kills attraction faster than anything else. Now let's talk about what validation independence actually is. It's not playing games. It's not pretending you don't care. It's genuinely not needing her approval to feel good about yourself. It's having a life so full, so aligned with your purpose, that whether she texts back or not doesn't move the needle on your emotional state. That's the shift. And it's the hardest thing most men will ever do. Because we're conditioned to believe that caring deeply equals loving fully. It doesn't. Needing someone's approval isn't love. It's dependency. And dependency is repellent. Let me give you a concrete example. You meet a girl, great conversation. You get her number. Now what? Most guys text her that night. Hey, it was great meeting you. Then the next day, hope you're having a good day. Then the day after, want to grab coffee this week? They think they're being interested, enthusiastic, clear about their intentions. They're actually being needy. Because they're initiating constantly. They're checking in. They're trying to keep the momentum going. And with every text, they're signaling, I need this to go somewhere. She feels that. And it dries up whatever attraction existed. Here's what validation independence looks like. You meet her. Great conversation. You get her number. You wait 3 days. Not as a tactic, but because you're genuinely busy living your life. You reach out once. Simple. Direct. No fluff. Want to grab a drink Thursday? If she says yes, great. If she says no or doesn't respond, you move on without a second thought. Because your emotional state isn't tied to her response. You're not sitting there refreshing your phone. You're not analyzing whether you said the wrong thing. You sent the invitation, the ball's in her court. And whether she picks it up or not doesn't affect you. That's validation independence. And that's what creates attraction. Here's why it works. When you're not chasing, she starts wondering why. Every other guy is blowing up her phone, liking her posts, commenting, deeming, being available. You're not. And that creates a question in her mind. Why isn't he? What makes him different? Is he not interested? Or is he just not desperate? That question is curiosity. And curiosity is the fuel for attraction. The moment you stop chasing, you become the one thing she's not used to: scarcity. And she starts chasing to solve the mystery. But here's the trap most guys fall into. They try to fake validation independence. They play hard to get a you'll. Wait exactly 3 days to text because some article said so. Ignore her on purpose to seem busy. That doesn't work, because she can feel the efforting. She can sense you're performing disinterest to manipulate her. And the moment she realizes you're playing a game, attraction dies. Because validation independence isn't a strategy, it's a state. It's the natural byproduct of having a life you're obsessed with, a purpose that fulfills you. Friends, hobbies, goals, and challenges that occupy your mind so fully that she's an addition, not the foundation. Let's go deeper. Why does neediness repel on such a visceral level? Because it signals low self-worth. If you need her approval to feel good about yourself, it means you don't believe in your own value, unless someone external confirms it. And if you don't believe in your value, why should she? Think about it. When you're with someone confident, someone who knows their worth, you feel it. They don't need you to validate them. They're solid with or without you. And that's magnetic, because it's rare. Most people are walking bundles of insecurity, desperately seeking approval. The person who doesn't need it stands out, not because they're better, but because they're free. Here's the shift you need to make. Stop trying to be interesting. Start being interested in your own life. Build something. Create something. Get obsessed with a goal that has nothing to do with women. Train for a marathon. Start a business. Learn a skill. Master a craft. Something that makes you forget to check your phone for hours. Because when you're genuinely engaged in your own life, validation independence becomes automatic. You're not faking disinterest. You're genuinely too busy building to sit around, wondering if she likes you. And that energy is what attracts, not the marathon, not the business, the fact that you're consumed by something bigger than her. Let me tell you about Tom. Tom spent 2 years chasing women. He'd meet a girl, text her constantly, be available whenever she wanted, cancel plans with friends to hang out with her. And every time the same pattern. She'd be interested for a few weeks, then drift, ghost, lose interest. He couldn't figure it out. He was doing everything right, being attentive, thoughtful, present. What he didn't realize is that was the problem. He was too present. He had nothing going on outside of her. No mission, no obsession, no life that she had to fit into. She was the life that she had to fit into. And that's suffocating. Then Tom started training for an Ironman. Not to attract women. He genuinely wanted to do it. It consumed him. 6 days a week, hours of training, meal prep, recovery, sleep schedules. He stopped going out as much. Stopped texting girls back immediately because he was mid-workout. Stopped being available every Friday night because he had a long ride Saturday morning. And something weird happened. Girls started chasing him. The ones who'd ghosted him months ago suddenly texted him. New girls he met were intrigued. What changed? He stopped needing their validation. He had something bigger. And that made him magnetic. Here's the principle. Attraction is a byproduct of a well-lived life. It's not something you chase. It's something that happens when you stop chasing it. When you're so consumed by your own growth, your own goals, your own mission, that women have to compete for space in your calendar instead of being the calendar. That's when you become irresistible. Not because you're playing a game, but because you're genuinely valuable, and valuable people don't beg for attention. They allocate it selectively. Now let's talk about what validation independence looks like in a relationship. Because this doesn't stop once you're in one. Most guys relax once they lock her down. They stop pursuing their goals. Stop hanging with friends. Stop doing the things that made them attractive in the first place. They make her the center of their world. And slowly, she loses respect. Not because she's ungrateful, but because she's watching you shrink. She's watching you give up the very things that made you magnetic. And she's realizing you need her more than you need your own life. That's the death of attraction. even in committed relationships. Validation independence in a relationship means you still have your own life, your own goals, your own friends, your own hobbies, things you do without her, not to make her jealous, but because you're a complete person who doesn't need a partner to feel whole. You want her, but you don't need her, and that distinction is everything. Because the moment she senses she's optional, not essential, she'll work to become essential. But if she senses she's the only thing keeping you together, she'll leave, because nobody wants that responsibility. Here's the action plan. First, audit your life. If she disappeared tomorrow, would you still have a reason to get up excited? Would you still have goals, friends, hobbies, challenges? If the answer is no, you don't have a life. You have a dependency. Fix that first. Build something you care about more than any one person. Second, stop initiating constantly. Let conversations breathe. Let her wonder where you are. Not as manipulation, but because you're genuinely busy. Third, become comfortable with silence. Stop filling every gap with texts. Stop checking in just to check in. Let space exist. Space creates curiosity. Curiosity creates attraction. Fourth, stop seeking her approval. When you share something, don't wait for her reaction to determine how you feel about it. When you make a decision, don't need her to validate it was the right one. Be complete on your own. Fifth, have standards. Don't tolerate disrespect, flakiness, or games just because she's attractive. Be willing to walk away if she's not adding value to your life. The moment you have boundaries, you signal value, and value attracts. Here's the truth most men don't want to hear. You're not unattractive because you're short, broke, or average looking. You're unattractive because you need her to tell you you're not. And that neediness is louder than anything you say or do. The moment you stop needing validation, everything changes. Not because you suddenly became better looking, but because you became rare. You became the man who doesn't need saving, doesn't need fixing, doesn't need convincing that he's enough. You just are. And that's the most attractive thing you can be. So here's my challenge. For the next 30 days, don't chase any woman. Don't initiate constantly. Don't check her social media. Don't wait for validation. Instead, chase a goal. Build something. Train for something. Create something. Become so obsessed with your own life that women become background noise. And watch what happens. You'll notice girls who ignored you suddenly interested. Girls who ghosted texting back. New girls intrigued by your energy. Not because you changed your appearance, but because you stopped needing theirs. That's the shift. And it's the only one that lasts. Stop chasing. Start building. And let them come to you. Now tell me, what's the goal you've been putting off while chasing validation? Drop a comment, because the man brave enough to admit he's been doing it wrong is the man ready to do it right. Subscribe for more psychology that rewires how you think about attraction, value, and why the best relationships happen when you stop looking for them.